name is Jimmy, and this is the 2021 Hyundai Sonata N-line. Oh, this is a little bit more fun than the Elantra N-line that we had last week. This is a little bit more sophisticated as well, as it is a Sonata rather than just the Elantra. But this, it's an absolute tire shredder. It's actually faster than the Camry TRD as well as the Accord, if the conditions are right. If it's not, then it has a little bit of problem putting its power down. But before we get to that, let's talk about the styling a little bit, because the Sonata, it actually looks really good. This being the N-line, it definitely differs from the regular just a little bit. It's certainly not as bland as like the regular Camry or too try-hard like the Camry TRD. The front end of this N-line is a little bit more aggressive with larger, deeper grille openings and the same 4-pod headlamps that's very distinctive. The LED daytime running lights, they go right up this chrome trim. On the side, we have a heavy beltline with 19-inch wheels. There's sill extensions on the bottom just to increase a little bit of that sportier flair. Around back, the lovely look really continues with beautiful LED tail lamp that stretches the entire width of the vehicle, with some vortex generators on the top. Below, we do have quad exhaust tips. In my opinion, they would look a little bit better if they were flipped upside down, but that's just me. Overall, comparing this to like the regular Sonata, I think it looks enough different to make it an N-line. This is still a very, very good looking vehicle. In terms of space in the trunk, we get 16 cubic feet. To open it, you can stand behind the vehicle and it'll pop open in a few seconds, or they cleverly put the release in the middle of the H here. What's nice though is you can still fold those seats down 60-40 to carry whatever you want within this cabin. Those back seats, well, actually they're pretty comfortable. Yes, there is a sloping roofline and a panoramic sunroof, but it doesn't cut into headroom that much. I'm 5'11" and I don't have any issues in here, and there's plenty of legroom as well. There's even heated seats back here, which is absolutely nice. Unlike the Elantra that we had last week, this Sonata, well, you get vents back here, which is absolutely nice, and you get a single USB port. Not sure why it's just one. I mean, there's 3 seats back there. Why not just give me at least 2? If you're carrying little ones, I do have a separate video that shows you how the Collect Link as well as the Collect Foof fits in the back seat. While they both fit just fine, I wasn't able to fit a third in the center, which means if you're going to be carrying kids, 2 is probably the maximum, unless the third doesn't require a child seat and doesn't mind getting squished kind of in between them. In any case, the front seats, these are really nice. This is where you want to be. They're this micro suede or Alcantara or suede-like material, a little bit of leather on the side, and they really hold you in. The bolsters are adjustable as well. They're heated, which is also nice, but you don't have a ventilated option like the regular Sonata has. In front of me, I have the regular Sonata steering wheel that has a little bit more sportier flair, has an N on the bottom and some grips with some stitching. It's nice, but I kind of wish for that 3-spoke layout that I got in the Elantra. But behind that, a full digital cluster. It shows me a lot of information, and there's a little addition to this cluster. It's a gauge pod in the center that shows me temps, torque, as well as boost. They're a little small, so chances is you won't be looking at them all that much. But I do like the animation. When going from normal, this plain kind of white look, if you go into sport, it goes to red and has this carbon fiber look. It looks actually pretty cool. And the animation isn't all that bad, because the regular Sonata, that was kind of laggy and just didn't look right. This looks, well, much better. There is a heads-up display. It shows you your speed, but not much more. But the infotainment is where you want to, well, dedicate most of your attention to, other than the road, of course. But the infotainment, this is the 10.25-inch screen. It's nice and wide, it's bright, it shows me everything. There's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Like, it checks all the boxes. But there are a few things. When you're driving here, you just can't reach to the buttons on the side. I mean, the screen itself is so wide that you can't reach the right side of that screen. It's just a little bit of a pain. But it does have a dedicated, like, quick shortcut button to go to, like, Apple CarPlay or whatever you want to adjust. But CarPlay is going to be wired. You do have to plug it into the USB port. Unfortunately, wireless is not an option, which is weird because the base Sonata, you do have wireless CarPlay. It's just you don't get it here. Just beneath that, we have a regular climate control. It works well. There's 2 rotary knobs here to control your temps, and there's 3 auto modes. I do like that actually about it. It's super easy to use, so anyone can just jump in and set the correct temperature. What's not as easy is maybe the shifter. It'll take a week or 2 to get used to, but after that it's fine. It's a push button style layout, which does free up a little bit more room for the Qi wireless charger as well as the cup holders, but just not a fan of push button shifters. I mean, they're fine. We're gonna get used to them over time, but there's just something about them that I'm personally not a fan of. But beneath that is where your drive mode is, and that's where all the buttons and the fun really begins. So let's go for a drive because it's an N-line. Let's go. Driving the Sonata, and we do have to keep in mind that this is just an N-line, not a full N-Sport vehicle. And what that basically means is, while yes, it is fast, it's not a performance sedan. It's not designed to be. This is just a family sedan that just happens to have a buttload of power. But there are a few things that kind of remind us of this. The 8-speed, while it is really quick, there are a few things about it that, well, it's not a full sports sedan kind of transmission, because in manual mode, or well, to get it into manual mode, you have to be driving. When you're sitting still, you press D or you use the paddles, nothing happens. It doesn't go into manual mode unless you're driving, then you press the paddles. That's when it activates. And that's even in sport mode. And in sport mode, it does keep the revs up for you. It does auto upshift, which is very normal. And when downshifting, it actually blips a throttle for you. It actually is kind of cool. And it actually sounds pretty good as well. Something that I absolutely love about this Sonata is just, it's comfortable. Driving around, you just don't feel like it's an N-line. Like the Elantra that we had last week, it was a little bit more stiff and rigid. This, it's actually very just compliant. Over rougher terrains, I don't have any complaints in here. It just feels like a regular family sedan. It feels good. And because it is a family sedan, when you go on those longer journeys, you just activate the cruise control and, well, it's easy. Because the automatic cruise control, or the radar guided cruise control that's in here, along with the lane keep assist, it keeps you within your lane. It automatically looks for the suggested speed on that specific road. You don't have to worry at all. Well, I mean, you still have to sit here and drive and whatnot, but it takes a lot of stress out of driving, especially those longer journeys. And it just means when you get to your destination, it's a little bit more comfortable. You don't have to worry as much. It's just easier. But let's pull over here and just recap everything completely. This, of course, is, like I mentioned, the 2021 Sonata N-line. It's not a performance sedan. It's a family sedan that just happens to have a whole lot of power. All that power going to the front wheels without a limited slip diff, yeah, it struggles for traction. Would it be better with all-wheel drive? Probably. But if it has all-wheel drive, it'll be heavier, more complicated, and it'll cost more. I think the N-line is really for those who just want a fast sedan. You can kind of think of it as like the TL Type S back in the day. This is basically that. It's just a more powerful version of fun sedan that you can take to the track, I'm sure, but it's more suited to the open roads. Let's talk about price here. As tested here in Canada with the N-line, there are no additional options. It comes to $38,000, which is actually $750 less than the top trim Sonata. Sure, it may not have cooled seats or 360 camera or the smart park feature, but honestly, I'm more than happy to give up those features for additional 110 horsepower, 116 pound-feet of torque. That's, well, to me, what matters. Cooled seats are nice. It certainly is on warmer weather. Today isn't that. It's kind of gloomy. But on warmer days, yeah, cooled seats is definitely nice. But 110 horsepower, and this costs less. I'd rather have this. And while it's slightly higher than the Camry, it is lower than the Accord, as well as Nissan's four-door sports car, the Nissan Maxima. And that's really it. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see what we have next week, and we'll go from there. Take care, everyone.